Alright, we are live, ladies and germs. And yes, this review is coming way late, but I've been procrastinating like a mother. But I haven't been feeling good all week, and there's a new game that I've been playing that's pretty much sucked up all of my free time. And why am I going without my hat this time around? Well, I just felt like it. But you can pretty much tell I need another haircut already. But I just want to get this review done and over with. It's Saturday, August the 14th. Tomorrow is the Cup race at the Indianapolis Road Course, so I wanted to get this one done and over with while I had the chance. So the news stories that I had for this week, I'll save for tomorrow. And I should be able to get the review done pretty early tomorrow because the race at Indianapolis comes on at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's the earliest race I think we've had this year. But let's go ahead and get into it. This is the fuel. Shit up. Oh man. Yeah, but can't already tell. I just woke up from a nap like 2 minutes ago. So yeah, already screwing shit up. But anyways, welcome to this edition of the Fuel. Here on Saturday, August the 14th, 2021. We're going to be reviewing the GoBowling at the Glen from last Sunday, which was the first race back since the Olympic break. There were a lot of drivers that were like, yeah, maybe we should do this summer break thing kind of more often. Kind of work it into the schedule. I mean, Formula One does it, and they're in the middle of it right now. And a lot of drivers are like, man, it really seemed to energize us, you know, because I mean, you gotta remember something. They've been going pretty much since February. And it was a 22 race stretch, which is still longer than I think pretty much any other racing series in the world other than Formula One at this point. So like, yeah, we could use a break, and having that 2-week break for the Olympics in a lot of drivers' eyes was very refreshing. And also, I think it also while some fans were like, well, we were without racing for 2 weeks. That may be true, but I mean, when you have a season that's as long as this one is, I mean, 36 races is a lot of races. I mean, there are times when you get completely burned out by the end of it. I mean, I remember 2019, which was the first season I ever did with the Fuel. I mean, you could tell by the end of it, I was completely burned out on it. I was like, I'm just ready for this to be done. And of course, the fact that some of the racing during the playoffs was not that good, I think also went hand in that. But for the most part, this season overall has actually been pretty good. A lot of I'm not going to say a lot of the races were spectacular. I mean, there were a few of them, but for the most part, a lot of races just haven't been trash. I mean, both of the Pocono races were actually pretty decent, pretty solid, which surprised the hell out of me. Of course, Dover sucked, because of course it does. And the Daytona 500 was not that good. Kansas, of course, was an officiating trash. But other than that, not really too many complaints this year, other than the shit-ass officiating. But, you know, that part is par for the course as far as NASCAR is concerned. But, yeah, it seemed like that the 2-week break broke up the monotony a little bit. And it helped, I guess it really helped rejuvenate these drivers and teams, because they were ready to rock and roll at Watkins Glen. And it's going to be like that all the way to the end of the season. There's going to be races every single weekend, all the way to the finale in November. So that's 14 straight weeks, starting with Watkins Glen. This is our 105th episode of The Fuel. Title of today's episode: A Challenger to the Throne. And by throne, I mean the road course throne. Chase Elliott has been the undeniable king of road course racing the last couple years, but this year he is got a challenger for that throne, because in this race was Kyle Larson, who scored his 5th win of 2021, and his 2nd this year. And both times his teammate Chase Elliott finished 2nd. Although this time around, Elliott kind of had to do a hard charge from the back of the field and damn near still pulled it off. Like I said, there are new stories from this week, but I'm going to save those for tomorrow's review. And I should be able to get tomorrow's review done, because the race starts at 1 p.m. and it's at the Indianapolis road course. It's a 200-mile race, and if it was anything like Watkins Glen was, then it should be done in like 2 hours. So very, very early finish for tomorrow's race. So should be able to get the review done in plenty of time. Probably I'd be able to start right around 6, or at the very latest 7 p.m. maybe, which is pretty crazy. But on that note, let's go ahead and get into it. Get this done and over with. So stages went like this. So it's a 90-lap race. So the stages broke down. First 2 stages were 20 laps, with the 3rd stage being 50. Brad Keselowski starts from the pole position. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell both had to go to the rear of the field for unapproved rear window deflectors, and I think their crew chiefs, either crew chiefs or car chiefs, actually I think it was their crew chiefs, were suspended for a race because of it. Because you might say, well, what's the deal with the unapproved rear window deflectors? Why would they get penalized for that? Because if you manipulate the rear window, you could also manipulate the air going to the spoiler, which could be a competitive advantage, in that it could give the car better handling. Yeah. So NASCAR was not happy about that. So Elliott and Bell go to the back. So we get the race started here. Keselowski leads lap 1. Newman spins in turn 1, gets it back going again. He basically spun out on his own, locked it up under braking. Battle for the lead heating up between Keselowski, Logano, and Larson. That was the thing about this race. There weren't a hell of a lot of lead changes in this race. I mean, I think this was the second lowest race with the second lowest number of lead changes all season. But the racing was still pretty damn close. I mean, you could not relax at all. You couldn't even make a mistake, or you were going to get passed, because the racing was just so damn close for the lead a lot of times. Kez starts experiencing some brake lockup into turn 1, which is a problem that he actually dealt with for pretty much the entire race, and it actually cost him the race, as it turns out. Truex starts closing in on the three-way battle, excuse me, as well as Hamlin, so the 3-car pack was quickly becoming a 5-car pack for the race lead. And then Keselowski spins in turn 6 after locking it up, which allowed Joey Logano to take the lead. This will be our one and only pure lead change of the day, which kind of sucks, but you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. So Joey Logano gets that pure lead change on lap 10. Then we get the first caution on lap 11, which was a competition caution. So we really only had one caution all day for incident. So that's pretty good. I think that attributed to how fast this race went. About half the field comes in for service. Logano leads on the restart. You have Blaney and Reddick fighting hard for the 5th position on this restart. Larson really loosened the S's, like he was really letting it hang out. Logano, Larson, and Truex all within half a second of each other for the race lead. So it's like I said, these guys were just all over each other. Couldn't really make any kind of mistake or you would lose spots. Several drivers peel off onto pit road for green flag pit stops. Truex, who's in the middle of that battle for the lead, ducks onto pit road right before pit road closes and actually got there. He was going to try to go for the win as opposed to the playoff points. Larson goes for the lead in turn 1 but has to back off to keep from making contact with Logano. That's something that will come back into play later on in this race. Kez slides into turn 1 as he was having brake issues, but somehow actually managed to keep it under control this time. As my cat knocks charger off my phone. Can't leave anything alone, it seems like. And Logano wins stage number 1. So everyone who didn't come in under green, come in under this stage break. So now we get to stage number 2, which was 20 laps. Stenhouse stays out and leads the start of stage 2, but gets quickly swallowed up by the pack. Because Briscoe makes it 3 wide with Stenhouse and Truex for the lead. Briscoe was on the outside, or on the inside, and Truex was on the outside, I believe. But Truex had the momentum with the outside move and comes out ahead going into the S's. Bell gets by Blaney for 5th after starting from the rear, which was pretty impressive. And then we have our second and final caution on lap 25 when James Davison stopped over between turns 6 and 7. At the same time, Ryan Blaney looped it over at the bus stop. Davison basically said tranny was having issues. He was having transmission troubles. The engine was running, but it would not move, which usually indicates transmission issue. Truex leads on the restart. Bell and Briscoe make contact as they fight for 3rd. Bell gets by Harvick for 2nd. And you might be thinking, man, Christopher Bell's a contender in this one? Don't forget, he won the Daytona road course race earlier this year, so he can get it done on a road course. Elliott makes an unscheduled pit stop. He flat spotted his tires. I think he flat spotted them to avoid something in front of him. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he had to make that unscheduled pit stop to get a fresh set of rubber. Logano goes drift kinging through the bus stop, which was pretty interesting to watch. And Truex wins stage number 2. So not really a whole lot happened in stage 2. Several drivers coming for service. Then we get to the final stage, stage 3, 50 laps. This stage went caution free. Clean and green all the way to the end. It actually started with 47 laps to go, but that's still more than half the race that ran under green flag conditions all the way through. That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. Truex leads the start of stage 3. Larson gets by Harvick for 3rd, and Chastain gets by Harvick for 4th. Yes, Ross Chastain. 3-way fight for the lead once again, this time between Truex, Bell, and Larson. Bell makes the move for the lead in turn 7. This was one of the big moments of the race. And it was one of the holy shit kind of moments of the race. When Bell made a move for the lead off of turn 7. And then Larson tries to take both of the Gibbs cars 3 wide. But Bell was having none of it. He blocked Larson all the way down to the inside. And Truex was able to hold everybody at bay. Chase Elliott finally gets into the top 10 on lap 52 after he also had to start the rear of the field and he also had to make some unscheduled pit stops. Chastain was leading a train all the way back through to 8th position, basically a two-lay train. Eric Jones spins in the carousel but gets back going, no caution. Larson dives under Bell for 2nd and contact is made as Bell he kind of came down on it. Was kind of one of those instances where Larson had position on Bell because he was all the way down on the curb, and then Bell kind of came down on him a little bit, and that's where the contact was made. Bell was obviously not happy and was still, I guess, not happy about it, you know, all the way through to this weekend, which I'm just going to say this to Bell. It was a racing incident, dude. Get the fuck over it. Like, seriously. But Harvick and Chastain kick off green flag pit stops as Kez spins in turn 1 yet again, but this time it had some consequence as he inadvertently takes out his own teammate Joey Logano. and it was not intentional. I mean, Keselowski had been dealing with brake issues all race long up to that point, and it did it, and the brakes did it to him again, basically in that turn. Truex and Larson pit from the lead on lap 58, and Larson gets out ahead of Truex, so his pit crew gets the job done on the pit stops. Hamlin assumes the lead, but of course he has to still make a pit stop. Elliott is right on his heels. Elliott pits on lap 61, then Hamlin finally pits from the lead on lap 64. Larson cycles back with the lead on lap 65 with Truex second and Kyle Busch in third. Kyle Busch having a good run, very quiet run, but a good run nonetheless. Hamlin looked like he was spewing some fuel out of the fuel fill at the beginning of the run, but all was good. The fuel usually evaporates when it comes out anyway, so there wasn't really a problem there. Elliott up to fourth, 10.5 seconds behind Larson with 21 laps to go. Elliott gets by Kyle Busch at the carousel for third. And he begins closing the gap to Kyle Larson for the race lead. The gap between Larson and Elliott is 7 seconds with 15 laps to go. Then we had Truex versus Elliott round 3. I say that because, of course, we didn't have a race at Watkins Glen last year due to COVID. So the previous 2 editions of Watkins Glen, 2018 and 2019, saw Truex versus Elliott for the race win at Watkins Glen, and both were pretty stellar races. This time, round 3 is for the second position as Larson managed to get out in front of him. As Larson continues to lead with 10 laps to go, Elliott manages to get by Truex for second into the bus stop, so Truex still cannot seem to beat Elliott at Watkins Glen. Elliott is 5.5 seconds back with 8 laps to go, so he has managed to cut that lead in half. But at the rate he was doing it would run out of time. But he managed to get it down to 4.6 seconds with 5 laps to go, so he managed to pick up the pace a little bit, and he was really starting to eat into Larson's lead. Larson gets caught behind a group of 4 lap cars, which allowed Elliott to close to within 2 seconds with 2 laps to go in this race. But Larson is able to navigate through the traffic, and he holds his teammate Chase Elliott at bay to win the GoBowling at the Glen, holding off the hard-charging Chase Elliott for career win number 11. And his second road course win of the season. So let's do some statistics real quick. Overall lead changes, there were only 7 overall lead changes. Like I said, it was the second fewest of the year. The only one that had fewer lead changes was the Bristol Dirt Race, but you know, those didn't have live green flag pit stops or anything like that. So that's why the lead changes were kind of kept to a minimum there. It was kind of a special event, to be honest. Pure lead changes, 1 pure lead change the entire day, which unfortunately came as a result of a spin. Only 2 cautions the entire race, though. And a lot of people were saying about the Watkins Glen race, oh, you can't pass, there wasn't hardly any passing going on. There were 1,973 green flag passes, which came out to an average of 23.5 per lap. You know, there was one guy on Twitter that was like, you know, don't give me this excuse of mid-pack racing, you know, and all this other shit, because there's really only one position that matters. Dude, shut the fuck up. Your opinion doesn't matter at all. Fucking idiots, I swear. This fan base just... nothing can ever please this fucking fan base. It's one of the worst fan bases in all of sports. That's why I don't associate with it, because it's nothing but a piece of fucking dumpster fire trash. Anyways, so let's take a look at the race results. I had to get this from Racing Reference because for some reason the results on NASCAR.com didn't have the laps led statistic, which is fucking weird. So Kyle Larson with the win. He led 27 of the races, 90 laps. Chase Elliott had to go to the rear of the field because of the rear window deflector, whatever the fuck it was. But comes back to finish second. Martin Truex Jr. finished third. I think that's the same finishing order they had at Sonoma. So it's pretty much been the same cast of characters at the road courses this year. Kyle Busch comes home in 4th after starting 20th. Denny Hamlin comes home in 5th. So another top 5 run for Hamlin, just still hasn't won yet this year. William Byron in 6th. Christopher Bell in 7th. Kevin Harvick finishes 8th, another top 10 run. He still hasn't won yet this year. Even though Harvick has been quote-unquote struggling, he has still been notching top 10 finishes. Chase Briscoe, of course, he's known to be good at road courses. He comes home in 9th position. I think it's his 3rd top 10 of the year. And then Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 10 in the Richard Childress Racing Machine. Of course, battling his teammate for the final spot in the playoff. So, point standings. Let's take a look at this. Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin are tied for the points lead. It took a while for Larson to finally do it after he ate into Hamlin's massive lead, but with his 5th win of the year, he has finally caught up with Denny Hamlin. And so if it were to remain like this all the way to the regular season finale, and it remained tied like this, which it won't, but if they do end up tied at the end of the regular season, Larson has the tiebreaker with 5 wins to Hamlin's 0 wins. Then you have William Byron in 3rd. Kyle Busch has moved up to 4th in the points. Even though he only has 2 wins, he's 4th in the points, so he's definitely regained his form. I think last year was just an off year for him for the most part. He had just the 1 win at Texas, which it did keep his 1 win per year streak alive. And then this year he won at Kansas in auspicious circumstances, and then stole the win at Pocono with a bad transmission, which was absolutely insane. You have Joey Logano in 5th, even though he had his troubles today. Chase Elliott 6th, Truex 7th. You have Blaney, Harvick, and Brad Keselowski running at the top 10. Rest of the results, Alex Bowman in 11th. Tyler Reddick 12th, who currently holds down the final spot in the playoff. On the outside looking in is Austin Dillon. Kurt Busch is locked in with his win from Atlanta. Christopher Bell's locked in with his win from the Daytona Road Course. And you have Chris Buescher 16th in points, Matt DiBenedetto, Ross Chastain, Michael McDowell. He's 19th in points, but he's locked in because of his Daytona 500 win. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounds out the top 20. So basically, Hamlin's going to be in on points from the looks of it, whether it's through the regular season title or just on points. He'll probably be in based on that. Harvick will probably be in on points. The battle for to get on points looks like it's going to be between the Richard Childress Racing cars of Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. Pretty much everybody else has to win a race to really stir things up. And considering that it is a road course we're going to tomorrow, that is a distinct possibility. And then we got 2 super speedways to close out the regular season. Next week, going to Michigan for the one and only time this year, which is probably a bit of a surprise, but I mean, that race hasn't really, the racing there really hasn't been that good in a while. And then the regular season ends off with Daytona, and then we start the playoffs proper in September. So there you go. As for my final rating for the GoBowling at the Glen, I mean, it's kind of continuing a trend this year. The racing has not been spectacular, but it's been solid. And even though we didn't have a whole hell of a lot of lead changes, the racing was pretty close. And that charge by Chase Elliott at the end, damn near getting there for the race win once again. I mean, it just goes to show you how good Chase Elliott is on road courses. And you know, even though he hasn't had an oval win since Phoenix last year, he's still going to be a threat for the championship. I mean, there's still some tracks that he's good at, so there's that. But my final rating for the GoBowling at the Glen, I'll give it a solid 7 on the fuel gauge, so a 7 out of 10. Wasn't spectacular, but I thought it was pretty solid. And that is going to do it for tonight's edition of the Fuel, a very late coming edition. I apologize for that, I just haven't been feeling good this week. And I recently got a video game that's been eating up a lot of my free time. So there you go. But should be able to get the review done in plenty of time tomorrow. I mean, the race starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. And of course, was part of the double header with IndyCar this weekend, which Willpower won, by the way. Which is his 5th win on the road course, and it keeps his 1 win per season streak alive. I think he's won at least once every single year he's been in IndyCar since he started. So, and he's been in IndyCar for a long ass time. I mean, this guy's in his 40s now. So, but like Scott Dixon holding down the old guard at IndyCar while being challenged by the likes of Alex Palou and Pato O'Ward and Marcus Ericsson. Oh, speaking of the Xfinity race, a car actually got airborne at the backstretch chicane after leaping over one of the curbs over there. Basically tried to do a Marcus Ericsson. So yeah. That race at Nashville last week still blows my mind. Like, how the hell do you get airborne like that and still win the race? I mean, as far as I can remember in all the years of motorsport, I have never seen that before. And from this point forward, it will probably be dubbed the Ericsson. Because I don't recall anybody ever getting airborne like that in any form of motorsport and going on to win the same fucking race. Unreal. But I guess we'll see what happens when the Cup Series races tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon in the Indianapolis Road Course. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not the Cup Series should be on the road course. There were a lot of drivers that were pretty disappointed that they weren't on the oval this year, which I'm going to be getting into all of that, talking about all of that in the review tomorrow night. So, because that's when it'll be relevant to talk about. But that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching tonight's edition of the review of the Fuel. Man, this actually went for half an hour, despite the fact that I didn't really have a whole lot to talk about tonight. That's the way it goes sometimes. But until tomorrow night, this is the Packer Man, a hatless Packer Man for once, signing out. Having a good one. Cat, will you quit trying to claw at my arm? Look at this little shit right here, if you can see him. You can barely see him. He's being a little shit. Being a little shit. Being a little shit. Being a little shit. Alright, I'm out of here. See you later.
Thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, you rats!